thing I've kind of been leaving out because we're just getting the very basic form down is this area up here that we're going to have to tackle with the indent and with the stem of the apple. So I'm actually starting to think about that edge here and where I want to place that. The colors are a little bit different over here. We've got that divot that's darker. We'll come in and attack that in a minute. But for now, I'm just going to start to place that shadowy place right about here. Still coming in with my soft brush. And that looks really dark, so we're going to paint over it. And don't feel like you have to work directly with what you're sampling from. You can kind of play around with the color families in the color picker. And I'm just coming in with that slightly lowered opacity to create that darker spot. And I'm going to keep sampling. There's a really yellow bright spot right there just because of the type of apple it is. Start to put that in, and this would be a good place to zoom in. You should constantly be checking, hey, do I need to get up closer to this? And if I look, those lines from the apple actually give me quite a bit of direction about its form. So my brush is so small at this point, it's being more linear. But I can use those to tell and trick my viewer into thinking, okay, this apple is round. Come in with my smudge. Just very gentle. See how you don't have to go crazy with that to get a more diffuse thing. And then I can come in and add the shadow in a hot minute. Let's sample over here. Different color over there. There's that weird brown again. So we're going to paint that in to kind of show where that ledge is. We're going to take that really weird dusky pink and kind of paint that ledge in up here. That's a little too high on my apple. It's probably closer to here. And if I use my eyeballs, it kind of comes to a line across here. And it looks like I probably need to bring my big dark blotch down a bit. And lower that opacity. Embiggen my brush. Just to get that nice shape that's showing me where my apple starts to bend. This all looks very rudimentary when you're first blocking it in, but I promise when you zoom out, it starts to make sense because your eye does a lot of the blending for you. I think we need that really dark bit. I'm constantly switching between opacities, so keep that in mind. Dark bit is another bit of shadow right there that the stem is going to sit with. Softening that up. Fixing that edge. And this comes up around like so. All right, let's do the stem because it's bothering me. Click on here, it'll snap over there. You can get lots of weird texture on the stem. The stem is not just one color either. So I have this block to kind of tell me where that's going to sit. Let's go ahead and do some sampling. Let's start with, I think that color is probably closest to a mid-tone for it. And I know it's not going to go much higher than this much of my apple ledge. So I'm going to put that right about here and start to sketch that in. Remember, this is just the blocking. And it's going to come all the way down. That pale pink ledge is going to come over it. Right now, we're just getting the details in. I know it's lighter up here, so I'm going to come in, sample, and start to blend these tiny little colors together. And this is when it would really behoove me to start working with a small brush. All these tiny wooden details. Am I on a hard brush again? No, it's just that small. Let's go back to soft round. Locking in these darker bits. Playing with the size. And I can go in with this color. My brush slightly bigger, slightly more opaque. And come over to blend as well. That was a little too much. Took away my beautiful, beautiful darks. Bump it down a bit. That's better. We're getting there. A lot of it is just reworking it until visually you're happy with it. I'm going to have to come in with some white soon. And again, it can be kind of gestural, meaning like it doesn't have to look exactly like what you see, because as you zoom out, your eye is going to blend a lot of this stuff together because we're working so close and personal to these tiny details. So I'm going to come in with that white. I'm going to bump my opacity back up. And don't be afraid to play around with how you make your marks. I do a lot of like scribbly hatchy stuff. It's got a lighter edge up in there. And this is starting to look more like a stem. Yahoo! Come in here. It's got a lighter edge. That might be too light though. Maybe. Blend that a little bit. Let's make that dark pop a little more. All right, let's zoom out and see what that looks like. Zooming out, that looks pretty cool. Looks like an apple stem.